So Fred has been speaking about Manchester United's long-term plan. We know there's talk about Ten Hag here. Mm-hmm. We know there's talk about Pochettino. We know there's even potential talk about Rangnick staying in charge. And I've heard a few people suggest that they feel like he could be good doing that. Fred said it's a bit strange not knowing what's happening in the long term.
Yep.
I know in football it's important to get good results as quickly as soon as possible, but it's also important to have a long-term plan. I think it's a little bit bad for us not to have one. At the moment, it's all about the short-term goals. We don't know how it's going to be after the end of this season.
Yep.
Now, if someone like Fred, who is always trying to keep things positive, always a smile on the face, whether we think he should start or not and all the debate around that, we can all agree that he's a positive influence within the dressing room. Now, if he's someone that finds it a bit strange, what message does that send to players that we want to sign new contracts?
Yeah.
What message does that say to potential signings that we could be in discussions with their agents? What does that say? And do you want Manchester United to kind of make their mind up on Poch or Ten Hag or another ASAP? Is it important that we do that, or what?
But how similar is this to signing a player? Because you hear a lot that you've been working on this for months, the initial contact was made whenever, but it doesn't quite work the same way. Managers don't tend to be like tapped up or spoken to. You don't hear about that. Oh, it's done and dusted. Wait till the summer. It happens occasionally, but that happens every year with transfers, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know how early you can approach Ten Hag or Pochettino. If Ten Hag wins the Champions League this season, do you think he's going to leave Ajax? Or if Poch wins the Champions League in the league, I mean, it's slightly different at PSG, but he might want to stay. Like, I don't know how that's going to work out.
How did Pep and City relationship work? Didn't they sign Pep? Like, wasn't it known?
Yeah, they announced it early, didn't they?
Yeah. So you can't, if you really want to, you can get deals done with managers.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish that has been the case here. Even if Ralph is going to stay on, I don't particularly think that might be the best thing, but if he is going to stay on, let the fans know that early doors so we can get behind him a bit more and not just see him as an interim manager. I suppose that's what happened with Ollie, and I'm worried that history might be repeating himself. He gets a good run of form, and we never really gave Ollie everything until he was signed as like the confirmed manager. So I don't want history to repeat itself, but I'd rather know sooner rather than later who the future United manager is going to be.
I like Ralph Rangnick, and I think he's done a better job than a lot of us give him credit for, because we've been frustrated by the performances and things like that. And I think he's actually settled things down quite
massively.
Well. I'm saying he's could get battered by Atletico tonight, but I think he's settled things down quite. But again, I don't want us to give him the job permanently.
No.
Like, the plan when we brought in Ollie wasn't to give him the job permanently. I remember that being said at the time. And then I remember when we gave him the job going, look, I'm all behind him, but I'm not sure about this one.
Yeah.
The same with Rangnick, I'd be fully behind him, but I'm not sure about that one. And I believe we should stick to the plan of, okay, he's going to progress and go above the manager's head and be alongside the board and those kind of things, and try and influence the football team, the transfers.
He'd be good at that as well.
I mean, he commented recently about Fletcher and like saying he's a good influence in training and stuff, but I don't really know why he's here. And it's like, we need someone that knows football to be in a position to influence the structure. I believe he's the guy to do that. And unless you're going to allow him to move up and get that chance, then how are we going to do it? Because managers aren't like Fergie back in the day. And if you give him the job, Rangnick, you're almost saying, and look, I'm not saying Fergie would, comparing the two. But what I'm saying is, when Fergie was manager, he was manager. He was one of the head coaches. He picked the team.
He'd drive around
did the
to players'
training,
houses and do
transfers.
negotiations.
He was doing everything.
Yeah.
At United, we're trying to find people to do different roles of what he did there. And ultimately, I think Rangnick should move upstairs, focus on that, and get a head coach. Bring a manager in that's going to focus on the football team.
But on that,
which
you
should
said
be
about stick to the plan. Do you think we have a plan?
No, I think what I mean is the
plan.
original plan of give him 2 years and a year and a half of that upstairs, which is what we said when we brought him in.
I think it's 2 further years.
Oh,
so I think it's 2.5.
2 further.
Yeah, but same thing. That's my worry, is that we'll just go with what's easiest at the end of the season, which Jay made a good point yesterday. When I look at City, or when you look at Chelsea in particular, those two, you know what their recruitment for managers are. Man City's is managers that keep the ball, that play that style of football. Chelsea's is whoever's won the most and is available, we go. That's theirs. They got Conte, they got Jose, they got Scolari, they've got down the years they've got everyone, the biggest names possible. But like as a general rule of thumb. I don't know what United's recruitment policy is.
It's very
scattergun.
It's
scattergun.
scattergun.
Players and managers.
Exactly. But that's the problem. We need, like you said, we need to stick to a plan. But I don't know how much faith I have that there is one.
That's why Rangnick needs to go upstairs.
Yeah, so he can help influence that. But my worry is, like that Fletcher quote, he said, I like having him around the training ground. I'm not, I don't think he was trying to have a go at him.
But he said, I don't know what his role is.
I don't know what he does here. I don't know what his job is. And Ralph Rangnick is someone that is literally...
Said that about a few people, yeah.
He's literally built clubs. He sets out he's like the guy that comes in and goes, here's what you need, here's what you need, here's what you need, in all facets, like he said, like Fergie used to do. And if he's sort of questioning what Darren Fletcher's doing, what is he doing? And that's not a knock on Darren Fletcher. He would, obviously, you'd take that job.
That's a knock on the culture.
Yeah, but who brought him in? Who's telling him what to do? He sits on the bench. Yeah, Mike Phelan knocks about occasionally.
Just stands there
smiling. But sometimes he's on the bench, sometimes he's not. He stands there smiling.
It's a good job if you can get it.
What's everyone doing? What is everyone doing? And we've done this thing where it went from having Fergie doing everything and then basically just the board and the scouts around him. Now we've got like Murtaugh, we've got George, we've got Woodward, we've got Phelan, we've got Fletcher, we've got other people knocking about. Rangnick. Like, at some point, are we splitting this up too much? You need someone to actually fucking take control and go, which one of you fuckers actually knows how this is meant to work? And they all go, none of us. That's the problem. Rangnick's good at that.
At United, well, it's not a problem because we have great benefits from it. When you look at the amount of money we can spend, despite the fact we haven't really had any on the pitch or as much on the pitch success as some of our rivals. Like, the benefit of our commercial status is that we can do those things, but the negative of it is that we almost have these two heads at the club where they're almost arguing with each other. Yeah. Like, or not, you know what I mean? Like, where you've got, all right, we've got to think about the commercial side of things, but we've got to think about the football side of things. And those two things don't always match up.
One thing we say,
and we know where they're going to go with.
Yeah, I know. Obviously, they pay themselves too much money because they're giving themselves sponsorships and shit. But they don't have to worry about their sponsorships. They pay their own fucking sponsorships. They don't have to go out. They don't have to be that. They can do what they want and just focus on the football stuff because all the money's coming from the owners. Yeah. Whereas with us, we're like, which fucking noodles can we get the most money out of? Which, and like you said, it's almost a blessing. It's a blessing for the board and for the owners that we've been shit on the pitch and really haven't seen that much of an effect in the bank balance. But if it does, then maybe that's when we'll start to see a change. But otherwise, I don't see a change really. I don't see why they're going to get their act together while we're still making money. You
look back at the Fergie days like they were distant past, but it's coming up to 10 years, obviously, next year, which is scary. Fergie always seems to have a good relationship knowing that United need to have that commercial aspect, but also be strict on what the players did and how they did it. It's like learning from our past. We could still learn from the ways of Fergie and just see if we can just sort of bring that back to how we play football these days, but how we still get our sponsorship in to make the money to go and get these players, but obviously still play good attacking football.
But that's the problem, though, that our club almost feel like they're almost trying to replicate something else rather than create something from within themselves. It's like, it's always, so after Fergie, it was, right, David Moyes, he's Scottish and he did something long-term at Everton, so that's kind of what Fergie did, right? So
Van Gaal came out of nowhere.
And then it was Van Gaal, well, he built he had this Barcelona link and the Ajax link and total football at the World Cup. Can he do that for us? And it was like, that's not going to happen. And then we had, who was it after him? Jose. And then it was,
let's be Chelsea for 2 years.
We need to win the league ASAP because it's been too long. Can we do what Chelsea did?
So it was
another thing which it didn't match up with what we wanted to do.
No.
After that, it was Ollie, which was again like, he remembers Fergie, like he'll know what to do. And it was like, that's not all well and good, but it's not. And now it's like, oh, Rangnick, remember what you did at Red Bull? Can you do that for us?
Yeah.
But on a bigger level.
Yeah. Well, let's just
we don't actually have an idea.
Let's hope that Arnold and Murtaugh is a better working partnership than Woodward and the Glazers. Obviously, the Glazers are still there and they're still going to be sticking their nose in. But hopefully, Murtaugh and Arnold is something with different ideas. Hopefully, better ideas, because at least they're going to get people that hit the bottom line money wise, like they always will do. But it doesn't mean they're the exact same person as Ed Woodward.
And you know what we've got to do as well? The next steps are so important because Manchester United will always be a club that occasionally get Champions League. We're always going to be a European football club, like in terms of Europa League, Champions League, whatever. We'll be playing around there for a fair bit. That could change in the next 5 to 10 years if we don't make the next few big decisions in the right manner, because when you're looking around at the competition, Newcastle are going to come through again eventually. And when you look at the young players that we've got, the Hannibals of this world, even Elanga, some of the younger lads coming through. We've got some real good talent here that we don't want them to start thinking our futures need to be elsewhere.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Because eventually that's what people will start
at the minute,
thinking.
you still assume...
Because we could fall into that pattern of Arsenal under Wenger, just living off past glories and just trying to get top four and attracting players that will build themselves up and then move on to City or Barca or Real Madrid or whoever is the big thing at that point.
Because at the moment, you look at someone like Marcus Rashford or McTominay or Elanga, and you do assume if we give them a fair contract, they'll probably want to stay at United for the rest of their career.
What are you hoping for and what are you expecting in the next couple of months?
I'm hopeful. I mean, obviously, I'm hopeful that we,
Which manager do you want?
Ten Hag.
Which manager do you
I
want?
want Ten Hag as well. I think there's too much water under the bridge with Pochettino. There's too many headlines. There's too many stories connected to us. I just don't.
What if
I don't
Poch
know.
beats Madrid?
I think
Why
he might.
Well, no, he's got to win the Champions. But Poch has got, he's got an incredible team.
I mean, we're winning the Champions League, but what if Poch wins it?
I still don't know if it changes it for me.
The thing with Poch is, like it was with Ole, there was an obvious, easy way to sort of insult him the whole time. The newspapers knew it. He's too friendly with the players. He's just got the job because he used to play for Man United. Poch, he used to manage Tottenham. He doesn't have the standards. He isn't
Can
a
I
born
tell you
winner.
why Poch?
Ten Hag has got this unknown...
But
he's
Ten
just
Hag's success
Yeah.
is obviously partly down to him. He's a fantastic coach and manager. But it's also partly down to the fact that Ajax are the best run club in Holland, one of the best run clubs in Europe. They have I know Overmars has been in the headlines for the wrong reasons recently, but they had him doing great work. They had Van der Sar doing great work. They have that there. Manchester United don't. And I feel like Poch and his success, particularly at Spurs, was in spite of the board rather than because of the board.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the kind of job we're going to need to be done at Manchester United. We're going to need someone to come in and do what Fergie was doing between 05 and 13, which is working magic with, not a lot.
Yeah.
Because of the board.
Yeah.
Obviously, we spend a lot of money in comparison to some teams, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like we need someone to do better than
an uphill battle,
expected.
isn't it?
Whereas I feel how much of, and again, Ten Hag's fantastic, and I wouldn't mind if I'm totally 50-50 kind of on this. Maybe 55-45 Poch. But if Ten Hag comes, how much of his success is down to Ajax? And
Well, they
what
hadn't
they
won the
have
league in
going
5 years until he won it, which is good. I know obviously
True.
it's not like 10 years, 20 years, whatever. And I know they've the
That's a
wealthiest
good
team in
point.
Holland or in the Netherlands, sorry. But it wasn't as though
and he
they'd been winning every year.
rejuvenated an academy and things
Yeah.
like that. You could say there's a lot of comparison.
And it feels to me like, obviously, Poch hasn't stagnated at all. He's got the best chance of winning big trophies he's ever had, but that's largely due to the team he was at. He did stagnate at Tottenham. He did get sacked from Tottenham. He didn't ever win anything with Tottenham. And I know that they weren't the best team.
And was the final one.
Yeah, which is obviously a very good
fucking
achievement. He
Tottenham.
made Tottenham relevant. And he did make them relevant. Any given season, you could start the year and make a case that Tottenham might win the league, which you could never do in my lifetime until then. I know he never did that, and he finished third in a 2-horse race and all that shit. But he is a good manager. I just think Ten Hag has got that like white hot excitement of a new world class manager just waiting to.
But
take
there's
it
been
to
a
the
lot
big
of
level.
managers over the last 5 years that have had that, and then
Yeah.
they're not around no more.
No,
Do you know what I
Felix
mean?
Magath.
Yeah, they're falling, aren't they?
Villas Boas.
Yeah, no, Villas Boas was there.
What is Villas-Boas up to now?
There
he
was
still
one
in
point where
China?
me and Jay were saying Villas Boas is the next greatest thing at Man United, around when
When
Moyes was
was
struggling. Okay, so what do you expect to happen?
I expect. I mean, on the pitch, I don't know. Off
No,
the
off the
pitch, I
pitch.
expect that
Chaos.
we get in Pochettino. I think we'll get Pochettino. I think Ragnick.
Do you think he'll be sacked before the end of the season and we'll announce it?
No, I think we for PSG. No, I think they'll let him win the league. If he wasn't top of the league, they might.
Are we saying that Pochettino definitely wants to come to United?
I think so.
We're,
I think so.
pulling him away from Paris, which I went
I think
to.
there's a
not long
pull
ago.
to the
Lovely
Premier
city.
League
We're pulling him away
as
from
well.
managing some of the best players in the world.
Mbappe's going.
And-
How long's Messi got left? And then you got Neymar, who's amazing.
Our attacking lineup is Ronaldo and Cavani at the minute. I just don't know if like
Cavani can't even be asked to turn up.
this dream of him thinking that he wants. Well, maybe I'm wrong, but if Pochettino wants to go, I'd take both of them.
But I reckon
I'd be
Poch-
happy with both of them.
Poch looks at Sancho,
Yeah.
Rashford. I'll do
Elanga.
something with them.
Yeah.
Ilanga, Hannibal Medjbury coming through. Zidane.
So-
now.
Maguire.
What you got to look at as well is there's like Paul Pogba, for instance, out of contract at the end of the season. Then the manager whoever the manager is next year needs to know if Pogba's part of his plans or not. Because if he part of his plan to be United don't get the
I
deal
reckon
done,
Pogba's decision.
I don't think Pogba knows.
possibly rightly so. Part of that will come down to who the manager is.
right. So he's waiting. Everyone's waiting.
Yeah.
Even we're waiting. Eh?
We are waiting.
Don't know what for.
I expect Poch. But I hope
What do
for Ten Hag.
you expect? To happen?
I think they'll go for Poch as well. I think it's they think that's what United fans want, and that's the headline for them. So I think they're going to.
Could they surprise us all and bring in like Van der Sar and Ten Hag?
That would be nice.
Because it was
wouldn't
talk that with the Overmars thing happening, Ten Hag was really close to him, and now him going from there. See, that's what makes me think if he is leaving Ajax because Overmars and Van der Sar, how much of if it is them three combined?
But do
you know what I mean?
Yeah. So Richard Arnold's replacing John Murtough with Van der
We've
Sar.
already replaced Ed Woodward, haven't we? So we're not getting Van der Sar.
No.
I think we'll get Poch.
Yeah.
Like, comment, share, subscribe, get your thoughts in the comments below. Can you also like this video as well?
Yeah.
Help us get to like
2,000.
2,000 on the watch along and 2,000 on this